Yes, okay. Very good morning, Westnile people who are watching us live on the KOKOLIRIKO Show. My name is Frederick Dramadri. We are back to this new movie show that is called the KOKOLIRIKO, and you are watching us live on Westnile Television here in Arua City on Weatherhead Park Lane. Remember, if you have a business that you want to really advertise with Westnile Television, you should be able to reach us here, or you can use our emails of the station, that is Westnile Television station @gmail.com, or you can contact us on 0765282281. That's how you will be able to access the services of Westnile Television. Remember, that small business that you are doing in your household or in that small market can be advertised to the world, where you'll be able to get customers online. Remember, we have been impressed in technology since the onset of COVID-19 in 2021. So what do you have to say about this? What is that you are doing that you really want to sell out to the world? So we have given you the opportunity to really trade with people inland and those who are within the region or maybe national. You might say people calling you from afar. That is because of the power of media. The technology has advanced. So we should be able to advertise our small businesses, whether you are selling in a kiosk, whether you are selling wholesale things, maybe on retail, all those that you have. We need to exploit and show the world what Westnile is really known of. And then those small things that we are doing, if we can package them, if we can add value to some of these things that we are producing, or maybe manufacturing locally here, you may never know, we will get market outside there. So this is one of the opportunities. You just come to Westnile Television, you will be able to negotiate a few of the transactions. That's where we'll be able to beautify and produce for you a very good advert for your products. Then you'll be able to get customers from across the country or maybe internationally. This is Westnile Television. Some of the services that we provide here, apart from the shows, apart from maybe having all one and two maybe services extended to the communities that we always do, we expect some of you to come and maybe say, this is my product that I need to maybe give out to the world. Let's make money, you see. If we don't make money internationally, then we are not really trading. We are not trading. You are just helping your brother who is near you. That means you will not have enough money in your pockets. When you don't have money, then you are poor. You cannot move further with developments. So we need to make money and retain money in Westnile region. First of all, money retention has been very poor. That's because many of our products have not moved far. Many of our products have not moved far. We are mostly importing from DRC, South Sudan, and we are getting most of the products from Kampala, which is very, very bad. That means we have nothing to show to the world that we are doing well. So if you have that opportunity to come to Westnile Television and show to the world that these are some of the things that we do, apart from the honey that we have sold internationally, what else can we be identified of as Westnile region? So these are the things that if we can venture into, if we can invest into advertisement, if we can impress technology, we will be able to progress with the little that we have in this region. Maybe slightly away from that, there are so many things that are happening across the world, from even the headquarters of Arua City, where we have seen a lot of things to do with the robbery of motorcycles from Arua City to the neighboring districts, the 13 districts, the local governments that we have, the urban centers. We have seen border-borders really risking their lives, especially those who are riding at night. This has been really so much pronounced by the police that really people need to take care. There were some few incidences that happened from last week up to this week. One of these was a border-border who was from Gilgili moving to, coming actually to Arua city center, the main market, was picking someone, and this person decided to park somewhere and actually stop the boda and said, okay, let's first move to this restaurant, we'll buy a few things, and we'll move on later on. Then it reached a moment where this person bought soda and decided to put some substance that is purported to be chloroform, and then this boda also they said the same thing. Actually, not the same thing. There were two of them, and the the person he was carrying told him to pick one of these from there and take. Now, but this boda rider, after taking the soda, found himself asleep. So the motorcycle went. This is one of the serious issues that we have seen. This is not the first time we have seen such incidences happening, but it is more rampant. On Friday, the same also happened in Koboko, where another boda rider was given water, just water to drink. And this person, after taking the water, started feeling like he was drunk and so on and so on. A few minutes, he got asleep, and the motorcycle went. So what does this mean? There's a lot to do with the security of yourself. People who are riding at night rail, we really expect you to be maybe persons who are not really beggars. If you are a boda rider, you should be able to know how you are going to peruse through and move on with the business. Apart from now maybe focusing on waiting for things from people, you should be able to have something in your pocket. Most of the motorcycles that people ride on these roads are belonging to some people that they call as their bosses. So if you're riding someone's motorcycle and you go and maybe ask for things from the people you are carrying to eat like that, then that is very, very unfortunate. So for us to avoid some of these things, let's really focus much on to having your own things in your pocket. Then if you are able to do that, you will be able to avoid some of these things. To switch over these issues of waiting for things from people, maybe also salivating at somebody's thing, somebody's eating something, you want to ask for the thing. This is very dangerous. This here, we may continue to lose motorcycles, we may continue to lose lives, because when these people recover, they find themselves either taken by well-wishers to the health facilities, or others are left just there stranded. So what will you report to your boss that whose motorcycle you were maybe using for the business? This is very critical. So we need to really look into some of these issues. Maybe also those who are giving their motorcycles to be ridden by other people, can we also look at the welfare of these persons that we are maybe contracting or giving them our motorcycles to ride? Because sometimes I pity some of the guys who are riding these motorcycles. The whole day you might ride and you take the whole money to the boss. So what do you have for your family? What do you have maybe tomorrow to fuel the motorcycle? These are the things we really need to agree on if we want our motorcycles to be there, if we want the business to thrive. Let's also look at the time of riding. Most of these motorcycles were robbed at around 10, from 10 to midnight. That's where people are actually sleeping. So if you are riding at that time, make sure that maybe you don't move very far. You don't move very far, and you should take keen interest of your security. If you really know that you cannot really move through that kind of situation, please don't really ride beyond that time. At least if you can ride during the day and you go and rest at night, the following day you can make money. Let's focus on making life longer, because there are so many things. You may not only live on this motorcycle you are maybe riding every day. Let's also look at other issues. Maybe We saw police warning people about these kind of things. Also, the chairperson of the border borders in the region coming boldly to pronounce themselves on the status of motorcycle robbery, the issues of killing border borders over the night, the issues of maybe gangs attacking them. So these are issues that are of security threat to the border industry. Can we team up and say, we are going to stop riding at around maybe 8 p.m. 8 p.m. is not bad. By then you would have already made money. During the day, you are riding, maybe latest should be 9. By 9, if all of us are at home, then we shall have a better living in these associations of border. Then too, we need to also look at the issues of if you don't have those gadgets, maybe that can protect you, because I've seen many times some of these robberies happen when maybe somebody comes with the rope, ties the other side, so these are some things that you may not see. And then there are some ways where you see somebody really pulling maybe a whole handle, hits you on the head. So if you don't have the helmet, how will you survive in these kind of scenarios? Some of these we can reduce them. Some of these we may not dodge them, but let's first prioritize prevention to maybe move into the curative side. Oh, maybe slightly away from this, we saw the PPDA Tribunal Appeals Committee quashing the recent tender of Arua main market by Arua City Council that was given to Baraka Investments Limited. This is after an appeal was launched by Rema Engineering Company Limited, who in their argument said they had actually bidded with the biggest amount, that was 115 million Ugandan shillings, up from the second bidder who bidded 105 million, that is by Baraka Investments Limited. So the reserved price, according to the legal officer of Arua City, that is Sam Henry Ontoma, who represented Arua City in the appeals committee, said the reserved price for the city council was 100 million. So out of this, all these bidders, the bidding was actually advertised around May. Since May up to June, that was when they really did the tender. And there was a re-evaluation after maybe somebody, Rema Engineering Company Limited, petitioned that this process was not really followed duly. So in the appeals tribunal court, we saw in the ruling that all the bidders, there were 2 bidders who bidded in the recent advert, that all the bidders did not qualify because they did not present any evidence to show that they have been in this kind of business. Maybe the tender was looking at the issues of revenue collection services in a Roman market. This, according to City Council, was going to help in addressing the issues of street vending, that the tender will be able to maybe mobilize these vendors to enter the market, and then also ensure the maintenance of the main market that has been there for over 3 years since its completion. Then the issues around waste management, the issues around garbage management, all this will be done by the best bidder that will be evaluated. So what does this mean to the City Council? We have seen recommendations from the executive committee that sat 3 days back, that they are going to really take up the issue of revenue collection in this main market from the initial person that was really evaluated as the best bidder, that is Baraka Investments Limited. So Arua City Council is going to take over the issues of revenue collection in the main market starting from today, that is a recommendation from one of the committee sittings, the executive committee of the city council, that was chaired by the mayor of the city, that is Warsham Nyakua, which sat 3 days back. And then after this, we'll be able to see readvertisement that will be done by the city council to also attract more bidders for the same processes that was done. So in this, the following recommendations from the recommendations from the appeals tribunal, they said the city council may accept bids from those who have been annulled, who have been said they did not qualify, in case they are able to present the rightful documents showing the proof of their work in the similar field. Then also looking at the issues around the gaps that were in the processes. Remember, the advert, according to the tribunal court, was not really, the time frame was not adequate enough. Then in the bidding, there were considerations based on biasness, especially for revenue collections. Most times they consider the highest bidder. This, if maybe Rema Engineering Company Limited had presented the rightful experience of revenue collections, maybe in the same field, they will be the sole winner for the bid. So that is according to the tribunal court. And also, if this is re-advertised, then the two that applied in the recent in the initial bidding process can also apply if they fail. But also if they don't fail, they can remain. So this ruling was not with costs; it was just without costs. That's because the two bidders did not qualify. But in case there was going to be something fishy in this, then we will see costs coming from either any of the sides. So meaning we are going to see another advert running by Arua City Council on the 10th of the main market. Remember, this market was constructed since 2018 up to 2020 by the government of Uganda through a loan from World Bank under the market agricultural trade project, that is MATIP, which concluded in 2020. So Arua City main market came with also the value addition factory that we saw recently, that it has been redundant, and the processes of also contracting somebody to manage it has been also jeopardized by a few elements that came in after maybe people were not satisfied with some of the processes that were followed during the awarding of the contract. Also, now this means the street vending that we see on the streets of Arua City will continue if really drastic measures are not taken. That means they need to fast track the issues of advertising this, so that maybe an independent person or entity or firm will be able to look into the issues of maybe shifting people from the streets to the main market. That will be transparently done, because we saw the city council trying to come in to evict people from the streets, but this has persisted. If you look at the streets of Arua town, from the hospital to maybe if you're heading to a Diofe trading center that is commonly known as Itia, you'll find a lot of clothes being sold on the streets. Most of the things that has to be sold in the market are really on the streets. Also, if you move to the main market, you will see that so many people are still selling down outside the market premises. This calls for really enforcement. If we really need much revenue to develop the city, which is a regional city that is aimed at improving the economy of this country, also improving the issues of development around maybe constructions of roads, because government nowadays has been complaining about the issues of budget, money is not coming, and so on and so on. So we expect local governments to be raising a lot of revenue from some of these infrastructures that have been built by government of the Republic of Uganda. So if all this goes well, then we'll be able to see a lot of developments coming to the city. Also, maybe if we look at the Central Division that has been in the forefront of revenue collections, they have complained so much to the City Council that they have been deprived of their mandates, especially in revenue collection, revenue mobilization, maybe leaving aside the issues of garbage management. Garbage management entirely maybe is something that is to be done by the Central Division and Untitled Division. All these lower divisions are supposed to be responsible for revenue mobilization and collection. Two, they are supposed to be also mandated by law. They are mandated by law to do the issues of waste management and garbage collections in the whole of the town, the city, and so on. So we have seen several times complaints coming from these division leaders that the City Council is interfering with their activities. So what does this mean? The division authorities reserved themselves. So after reserving themselves, that's why we are seeing all this mess in the town. Can we see everyone dancing to the tune of what he or she is supposed to do? Can we see the City Council handing over some of the responsibilities to the divisions that the Ministry of Local Government actually directed, including the Local Government Act that clearly stipulates that the issues of management and the revenue collections lands on the divisions, and the issues of administration mostly relies on the center. And all these revenues, remember, that are collected by the divisions are supposed to be submitted to the center to be counted for the City Council, and then the divisions will be maybe apportioned 50% to their caucus for their developmental agendas. So this is something that, if really is done very, very well, like recently we now saw the Central Division now taking charge of the street, maybe the collections at the taxi park. That means these services that we have been lacking in the taxi park, including maybe the lighting, the issues of security concerns that have been there for quite a very long time, will come to maybe a pause. That if really they really execute it very well. We have seen the collections increasing from the Central Division after they were handed over revenue collections at the taxi park from June up to this time. So that means there's there's gap in collection of revenue that is evidenced by the returns from the Central Division, that they really did really very much in the collections during the last month. So if all maybe the main market is also given to them, in the meantime, I may not doubt that there will be some increase. There will be some increment in the collections. So looking at the recent performance of their revenue collections for the last quarter of the 2022-2023 financial year, it really showed an increase. That means there's some loophole that has been where revenue was leaking has been breached. So we need to look at some of these things if we really need to focus on achieving the agenda of reaping from the investments that we really put in using the loans that we acquired from World Bank. So this some of the issues that we have seen locally here. We'll be able to come back shortly after the break to digest on some of other issues that are happening outside Arua City, outside the Westnile region, and then maybe we'll look at the national perspective, what is happening there. We saw threats from World Bank of not really giving financing developments in Uganda just because of the anti-gay law that we our president, the president of the Republic of Uganda, Yoweri Museveni Kaguta, ascended to in May. So what does that mean to our developments? What does it mean to maybe the local governments? Can we expedite on maybe revenue collections? Can URA come in and really now do their mandate? If that is true, if that story continues like the way we saw recently, where the visas of some of our top leaders in the country were revoked. So this means each nation is going to develop using its own resources. Let's come back after this break.
Westnile TV, lighting up the region.
A brand new Global Star TV with StarTime's Inside Technology. New TV innovation with an inbuilt decoder that connects you to both StarTime's antenna and satellite signal. With StarTime's Inside Global Star TV, you can enjoy over 300 local and international channels, 1 month StarTime's highest bouquet for free, automatic system update, more benefits, more affordable. StarTime's Inside Global Star TV is available in all StarTimes branches and dealers countrywide. StarTimes Inside, entertainment inbuilt.
Westnile TV, lighting up the region.
Right, welcome back from that commercial break that has maybe reminded us on several issues that we are maybe dwelling on, especially the issues to do with the main market, the issues that we talked about, the safety of the border borders on the roads that we really talked much about. So maybe let's move slightly away from Arua City. Let's move to Moyo district, where the veterinary officers were able to put animal quarantine again for the next 6 months. This is coming from the increase of zoonotic diseases that are spreading around maybe the district because of maybe the weather changes and some of the issues that are related to the animal movements. Maybe if we look at some of these issues, by law, we are not supposed to see veterinary officers and the local governments put in quarantine, but because of the situation currently in West Nile, we saw this done by Pakwach Chief Administrative Officer. Recently, we talked about it, and we saw Ministry of Agriculture, Animal Industries and Fisheries coming to say no, they should revoke that quarantine because it did not follow the due processes. So this was revoked, but the good thing was there was a swift move by the ministry officials to come and investigate the cases of some of these diseases in the animals. We have seen so many animals dying in the region. What does this mean? What does this call for? We have so many refugee hosting districts in the region. On top of this, we have partners, implementing partners that are bringing for us animals, especially in line with livelihood support improvements in the host communities and the refugees. So these have been some of the issues that are triggering the increase of some of the zoonotic diseases that move from one animal to the other. But what does this call for? If our animals are dying because some of the new maybe breeds have been introduced into our farms, what is this that we should do? There's a lot to do around testing animals, maybe having animal quarantines somewhere before even these diseases spread into our animals in the farms that we locally had here. So that means there's a lot to do with this. In their quarantine rules, they said there should be no movement of animals out and in Moyo district. To the issues of the sub-county veterinary officers, the extension workers should be able to move to maybe from one farm to the other to look into the issues of identifying sick animals. Also, farmers be able to support vaccinations of their animals. This is another thing that is looming. So remember the quarantine that was instituted by Ministry of Agriculture, Animal Industries and Fisheries in Mariokolo district, if really well adhered to, is yet to be lifted by September, the coming month. So this means there's something that is going wrong in the region. We need to focus on really a general perspective, in the general perspective of the region, not really the districts. If Moyo district is able to put quarantine, what about Terego that is also reporting cases of animal deaths, especially the diseases that were identified to be so in science in animals were more or less like foot and mouth disease that is in the cattle. So this is mostly in Oriema and Odupi sub-counties. So there's a lot that is to be done for the region, especially the districts that are hosting refugees, including Moyo, Ajumani, Obongi, we have Yumbe, Mariokolo, Terego, and those districts that are on the highways where animals pass, also those that have auctions. This is where the biggest area of disease spread is mostly witnessed. So I think there's need by the ministry to come into the region and have maybe better interventions derived in maybe massively testing all these animals, also vaccinating them instantly to avert some of the cases. So this means people, one, are not supposed to eat meat from the dead carcass, maybe from animals that have died from suspected diseases. Also animals that are showing weak signs, maybe signs of weakness of their body, signs of failing to eat, signs of vomiting, signs of maybe wounds created, signs of maybe hairs maybe being removed by themselves, signs, even sometimes people can really see some of these things. The farmers can really see that there are ticks that are maybe getting onto my animals. People don't care. They don't even put maybe spray maybe some of these drugs on their animals. There are some drugs that you can really afford at a cheaper cost if well recommended by the extension workers. This will be able to prevent some of these disease spread in our animals. Like some of these things, the body fleas that we always see. Can you really not really help your animals from this? Should we wait them to first die and then we come and report that my animals are dying? What are the extension workers doing? Because it is you as the farmer to go and report to the extension workers that my animals are not really doing well. These are some of the signs. How can I be helped of some of these conditions? So if you cannot really come up and say, this is what I'm feeling, apart from waiting for the animals to die, sometimes animals show signs maybe 1 week earlier before they come to that final stage of dying. So we should not wait for animals to die maybe 2 or 3 more in a farm. Then we come up with some of these maybe issues to the health workers. I mean the veterinary extension workers. These are people who help us in some of the societies. So we are still waiting for ministry to really come into identifying what really caused this increase in deaths in Moyo district. But what I can confirm is there's a quarantine that is being instituted by the district local government for the next 6 months. This is to contain the disease spread. 2, it is also to give room to observe what kind of disease is this and how it came into the district. We recently also saw Terego district registering 6 animal deaths in some parts of Wadupi sub-county. This is after IDI venturing into checking what is actually happening there. This is after a tip-off from one of the farmers that one of the partners, implementing partners that is in the livelihood that is based in Westnile region, took animals, heifers, into the sub-county and distributed to the farmers, both refugees and host communities. These animals were not inspected, but they were given to the farmers. There was rust in all the processes. So can we really restrain from that? Can we look at all the processes? Because these animals, even if you want to give them after 1 month, it doesn't mean you are out of maybe your programs and so on. The animals will not die as long as you keep them for inspection, and that time frame for maybe most times they give 1 week to monitor the animals, whether they are showing signs or not, especially in the inspection areas where animals are supposed to be monitored before given to the farmers. Can we impress inspections of our animals before we give to the farmers? Let's not rush with projects, because at the end of the day, the donor will also ask you, now that we gave you this money, you did supply animals to farmers, how far? Can we see the feedback of what you did? Can we go and see whether it was really valuable? Did you really execute it the way you projected to us that you are going to work on this, and this is what you are going to do, and this is how much you are going to spend on this? So if we give farmers sick animals and we leave them to die there, that means we have not done anything. You have not changed the lives of our people. You have not improved any of the lives of the communities that you were saying, maybe telling the donors that you were going to help. So this is one thing. Also, maybe the veterinary officers, let's not sit in our offices. And these people are doing all these maybe giving all these animals to the farmers, can we also move to the field? Can we not really always wait for information from maybe the people who call us on phone that I went there and donated animals, sign here, yes, to show that you were part of the donation and so on. This is one thing that is killing the society. Monitoring projects is one key thing that has been affecting a lot of projects, apart from maybe this donation of animals. We have also these borders that are porous. You remember Moyo is next to South Sudan. There are farmers that go and graze the animals in South Sudan. There are farmers from South Sudan that come to Uganda. So because of that mutual maybe well-being and the lifestyle of the people, the movements around and so on, that relationship that has been there for years, these are some of the results that we're seeing. So there's need a lot for us to adhere to some of the recommendations from the vet officers, especially on the issues of eating dead animals. We talked much about this yesterday, but today we are seeing more things coming about this. So we need to really do much into sensitizing our communities. We need to start also giving time for our farmers. There's a lot that I've seen, workshops all over. And then we also saw exhibitions, agricultural inputs and so on and so on. Can we also move into where these auctions are taking place, where people sell animals, the animal markets? Can we move to them and as extension workers and educate farmers there and then? And if need be, if the vaccines are available, when a farmer buys an animal, before the animal leaves the auction, maybe the animal market, can this animal be vaccinated before the farmer goes out? Because vaccinating animals is not really much expensive, but treating these diseases in human beings is the contrary. It is very, very expensive. We should not really lose our lives, lose the lives of our animals, because this is the wealth that we have as a region. We are much described as an agricultural region that produces crops that keeps animals. Because of some of the, we still have, I believe, vast land in the region that is able to support agriculture. So if we cannot really support our animals, if we cannot support our people, we will not have that quality that we need to show to the world that this is an agricultural region that can do well in agriculture, that can maybe show quality of what we produce, what we rear, what we what we can really sell to the outside world. So how do we retain money for this region? One of this is through the agriculture that we are doing. And most of the things that we do here, our animals are dying so much. The animals are dying because we don't care for them. Sometimes our farmers are illiterate, but to bring them to the light, we need to educate them every time on some of these signs. There are most times I see when people look at the animals maybe becoming weak, maybe developing some signs of some diseases, people rush with a knife. So rushing to kill the animal and slaughtering it means you are also going to consume this same disease from the animal. Some of the diseases are very, very transferable from human beings, maybe from animals to human beings. That means if you slaughter the animal and decide to eat it, then that is very, very dangerous. Also, meat inspection has been another issue. We saw quarrels between the butchers and the veterinary officers. Sometimes people say they overcharge. So can these services be rendered at a free cost so that we see people consuming the best of the meat that we need, that is not able to transmit diseases, that is not able to make our people lose their lives? Can we see maybe extension workers also reducing? I know most of them are private persons. Can we look at what kind of services they are providing to the farmers? Are they providing the right services? Are they dealing in genuine drugs? We saw some time back that people were complaining of the kind of drugs that these people are injecting the animals with. We saw a testimony from one of the farmers that one of the extension workers in one of the South counties in this region vaccinated the animals, and the animals started dying. What does that mean? Was it overdosed? Was it that he did not use the rightful drugs? Was it that the issues of maybe mixing the drugs was not really adequate? Are these people who are being registered? How is the regulation of the extension workers maybe profession? Can that be also one of the things we look at in maybe accrediting these people to move into the communities to vaccinate the animals? Those are the things that I will feel if we need to, if we talk about, if we are able to put light and sense into some of the things that are happening within the region, that will be of very much paramount. Maybe slightly away from Moyo, let's move to Mariokolo district that received 11 billion from Ministry of Local Government and the Ministry of Finance also, that gave them 11 billion for executing the USMID projects since 2021-2022 financial year up to now. We have not seen these projects executed. So what has caused the stalling of some of these projects? There are a number of projects that range from markets to recreational centers, then to also some of them are stadia for some of the sub-counties that were supposed to be hosting big games for this region. You know, the stadium plays a very big role in attracting revenue for local governments. It is also a source of leisure where young people go and exercise, and some of them go and waste some of their time watching football, athletics. There are so many things that happen in this. So there's 11 billion sellings projects that were launched in Mariokolo. There are around 80 of them that have been given to contractors that were procured by the district with consultation of the office of the Prime Minister, that is since 2021. But up to now, we have seen most of these projects not being executed. And the time frame that was given for executing the projects elapsed some time back. This means there's no value for money at the moment. We cannot count on them. We saw the State Minister for Urban Development coming up boldly to say that most times projects that are given to contractors, government advances 30% of the money to the contractors to start up the projects. Then they expected that with the 30%, these contractors will be able to do something so that they are really doing some work, and then from that they will be able to maybe add on what they have, because when you are really showing interest in taking contracts, you show your financial strength, that you'll be able to, even without giving you money, you'll be able to execute the project. But are people really doing this on ground? How about monitoring the projects? How about supervising? How about the recommendations that are given in the site meetings? Are they being followed? These are some of the things that have been lacking. We saw the district leadership threatening to take legal action against some of the contractors. We also saw, on the other hand, also Ministry of Local Government saying, no, don't take them to court, delay giving them more maybe a contract extension if these expire. Now that is the development that we need to follow. Has there been any extension given to them or not? That is something that we need to follow down there in Madiokolo district, because really there are some districts that were given the same projects, but I've seen them moving well. For instance, Terego district, there were projects that were given to them, also including the stadium and some markets that are being constructed. So I've seen the stadium is complete. They are remaining commissioning some of their projects, but Madiokolo, some of them have not reached 50% from 2021. So you ask yourself, what is unique in Madiokolo district? What has really made some of these projects slag behind? Is there any role that the local government is playing as far as the execution of these projects is concerned? Because according to the design of these projects, the monitoring of these projects will be done jointly by the central government and local government. So what does it mean to the local government? Have they been there on ground looking at some of the issues around these projects? Because people need services. And why government is bringing all these developments is not because the local governments applied for them, but because government saw that local governments are not raising a lot of revenue from the available revenue sources that they, by nature, by design, have. So these are some of the ways government is promoting local economic development. So these projects are under the World Bank loan, which is expected to expire by December this year. So December 30th, USMID first phase will be phased off. So if there's hope that the second phase will be rolled, then it will be coming with another design. So you may never know. The districts that have benefited may not benefit in the next phase. That is what we don't know. So can we get rid of what we have? Can we follow them critically so that we're able to also look into the issues of developing our own districts from the perspective of increasing revenue, also increasing service delivery? Because some of these recreational centers and some schools were also prioritizing some of these. Also roads. You know, roads are very paramount in development. Without roads, you will not access maybe a health center, you will not access the district headquarters where most of the issues to do with budgeting, administration, and so on, management are done. So if these projects are not executed, that means by December, when these monies are maybe sent back to the center, then that means Madiokolo will be left with nothing but to always maybe look at the own sources of revenue. Remember, during the 2020-2021 financial report, Madiokolo district performed very poorly in revenue mobilization. Their revenue mobilization accounted to less than 1% of the district's budget. That was something very, very critical that they needed to really focus on in ensuring that these projects are executed and they are able to maybe start tapping revenue from them. Because when the football ground, the stadium that is for football, volleyball, netball, and the athletics that is going to host most of these co-curricular activities is ready, then we will have teams coming to maybe rent some of these facilities. We will be having a lot of revenue generation at the gate that the local government will be able to increase some of this burden, reduce some of this burden from the revenue that is collected. So if we look at the markets, improving a market is very paramount, because when a market is dilapidated and people don't feel comfortable in a market, then you will not see people coming in large numbers to trade in such a market. Then that comes back also to revenue collection. you will not have much to be collected. What does that call for? Now government is sending money depending on the revenue you collected. So if you collected less, then you will have less development in your district. Then if you have less development, that means your people will be poor and poorer. That means services that you'll be rendering will be of maybe, we'll say, average standard compared to other districts that have been contributing to the caucus very, very large amounts of money. Then if we come to some of these projects, we will expect the district leadership to take measures to ensure that the projects are executed within shortest time as possible, as much as also looking at the issues of quality that is to be ensured in these projects. Because when there's no quality work done, then we're also dumping money into projects that are not going to help us in the near future. So those are some of the issues within the region that we are able to pick, that we thought are very, very necessary, and we'll be able to, when we bring them out, people, stakeholders, various stakeholders will be able to pick interest in and work on them. And if really people are following us critical, and what we bring is followed, and more actions are taken onto some of the issues that we discuss here, we expect that development should be able to be done in most of the areas in our region. Let's go for some commercial break, and then when we come back, we should be able to look at issues that are of national picture. Then we'll be looking at some of the issues around the globe later on. Thanks very much. Keep on touch. That's Westnile Television.
Westnile TV, lighting up the region.
A brand new Global Star TV with StarTimes Inside Technology. New TV innovation with an inbuilt decoder that connects you to both StarTimes antenna and satellite signal. With StarTimes Inside Global Star TV, you can enjoy over 300 local and international channels, 1 month StarTimes highest bouquet for free, automatic system update, more benefits, more affordable. StarTimes Inside Global Star TV is available in all StarTimes branches and dealers countrywide. StarTimes Inside, entertainment inbuilt.
Westnile TV, lighting up the region.
All right, welcome back from that commercial break. We are back on the studios on the topics of development that we are discussing about, and we want to bring you so many issues of very, very national importance, that one of the issues that we are able to see this morning is the issues to do with the NADS, the National Agricultural Advisory Services, that spent over 7 billion without budget. This has been one of the critical issues that has come. You remember, NADS has been there for quite a while in venturing into improving services around agriculture. They remember in many districts they were able to donate, and the seedlings, donate animals under different programs. So this is one thing that has been on discussion around the National Caucus. One of the key issues around this was highlighted in the Auditor General's report that really spelled out that this 7 billion was unaccounted for. First of all, much as they said they spent on several issues that they were able to prioritize, but these were not reflected in their budget. That means if you are spending money without a budget, you may not be able to account for them. This was one thing that the COSASE has been able to probe the NADS Secretariat about how they were able to spend monies without even showing proof of the requests they were able to use the monies for. So one other question that remains in the minds of the public is how come that they were able to be financed without a budget? Who was this person responsible of financing NADS without even a show of proof of a budget that was prioritized? So if you look at some of the discussions around this, you will realize that most of the services that were rendered around this 7 billion that was said to be spent, we are talking about issues of trainings, issues of maybe dispersing seedlings, dispersing animals to communities, and so on and so on. So can we see things done in the right way? This is one thing. I think most of the issues around this country that has been touching is to do with procedural matters. Procedures are very, very important in auditing processes. First of all, if you know that you are an entity or even an individual at home, at your home, when you are budgeting for things, maybe when you are putting money on table that we want to eat food, you should be able to have a budget for this food. What are we going to buy? How much are we going to spend on it? And then what about the balance? If the balance is there, what will it cater for? Then those are the ways we should be able to account to one another. Even in our homes, that's what I'll best say. But this money, if it was spent, and the explanations that were given around trainings, around disbursement of equipment, seedlings, and inputs, if these were not the right things, or if they were right, they needed to be probed further and looked at. And if we can focus on getting evidence to some of these things, then we'll be able to say, no, this money was spent rightly, much as they did not present budget. But if they cannot adduce evidence that we really spend on this, and the service providers are not really coming to give testimonies, yes, I did this on this day or at this time, then we are in trouble of losing that money. Then there's need for us to check on the people to account for those monies that have been spent and budgeted. Then too, the issues around the projects that were rolled under the NADS. People have really abandoned so many of these projects, and not only this, we also saw recently operational wealth creation. So many projects were rolled under that, even including seedlings, including disbursement of animals, farm inputs, and so on. With NADS, I thought they would have been working hand in hand, because since they are venturing into the same sector of agriculture, improving trade, improving the issues to do around commercial agriculture. So this will be of paramount. Then if that is done, the one that is looking at the issues of monitoring, we should be able to track the farmers who benefited from some of the services that are said to be done under the 7 billion Ugandan shillings that was spent last financial year. So this is very critical. If they did not really show proof of this, I think it is really very, very much important that COSASE needed to probe further and get evidences of some of the spendings, because Auditor General is the sole entity that is there to audit all the entities that are doing a lot in service delivery under government, and those that trade with government also. The private sector that are trading with government, they are bound to be audited also under all these circumstances, so that we're able to see value for money, so that we're able to realize service delivery in an equitable manner. Because sometimes some of these inputs are given to groups that are formed just to benefit from some of these things. But after benefiting, you will see people disintegrating. Let's maybe divide the animals. Let me keep mine, let you keep yours. But now when it comes to the issues of reporting, the impact of such services that have been provided, it becomes very, very tricky to really say, as a group, we are able to do this A, B, C, D, that we benefited from maybe the NADS, or maybe operational wealth creation, or maybe any other partner. It is very critical to look at the issues of monitoring projects. It is very, very also important to account for what we did. So I think COSASE is right to probe further, because auditor really highlighted that this money, there was no proof of budget, so to them this raised queries around the accountability that they are delivering, that they provided services. So this is one thing that is in the national caucus that we thought we could be able to bring to your attention, and also those services that were provided since I don't know for how long this has been, but I would say those who benefited from these projects, can you also show to us that really you yearned for the project and you were able to benefit from this project in this way, and this is how far you have been able to change your life from the projects that you were benefiting from maybe anti-NADS, or maybe anti-operational wealth creation, maybe leaving the issues to do with NADS there. Let's move to the World Bank sending signals that they are not going to fund any development issues in Uganda, maybe through the loans that Uganda has been able to get. And this is very, very serious. According to World Bank, is because of the anti-gay law that government signed this year in May, and we saw threats after signing the law. This came to some of the big leaders, including the Speaker of Parliament, that her license, visa restrictions were put on her, and also visa to the US was revoked. And this did not really shake the nation, because the anti-gay law was very, very paramount in protecting the identity of the Ugandans. Because for us, we were born from maybe to parents who really did good in what God revealed to Adam and Eve. So if we are saying we really need to move to gayism and so on, those other things that are from other nations, maybe other continents, imposing them on us, then it is very, very bad. What does this mean to the nation? We need to venture much into doing a lot in revenue mobilization, in promoting our local economic development, because we have the resources. What we lack is money. That is one thing we need to know. What we lack to develop our nation is money. But otherwise, we have all that it takes. We have the natural resources. We have a lot to do with land. We still have vacant land to prioritize investments with local here. We have, government has been venturing much into improving the livelihoods of the people. At least somewhere Uganda has achieved a lot in this. So if we don't have loans, can we pay back the loans that we were able to borrow over the years that has continued to accumulate? After paying them, so can we look at the issues of raising revenue, both by local governments and the entity that has been approved, the statutory entity, that is URA, that has been much into revenue collections? Can we expedite our revenue collections if we don't want these restrictions from other nations that are dictating on the resource usage in our country? Also looking at the issues around maybe promoting the talent, exploiting some of the talents that we have. We have people who are in art and crafts that are able to attract revenue for us. This industry has not been so much tapped into, but I've seen government trying to regulate it by starting with the artists who are much into music. Can we move to other things that were done traditional? People were not really looking at marketing them. Can we move further to start marketing them and also tapping money from these kind of things and increase the sources of revenue that we have in local governments for us to have a lot of money in this country, and also be able to retain money for quite a long time, so that we move away from some of these restrictions by the other continents that are preaching their religion, preaching their maybe culture, and they want to impose on our nation. So I think the president did it wisely to sign the anti-gay law that was really there to protect and maintain the dignity that we have as a nation, and also make sure that our people are able to maintain the culture, the heritage, all that we have been in, that has been spiritual right. And also, you know, this law was signed in consultation with all the stakeholders in Uganda. People all said yes, because this is something that people were yearning for. They wanted this law be there so that we're able to protect and preserve our culture, and also maintain whatever we do here in an African way, not really the way other continents, other leaders, other nations want us to do it, because we are an independent nation. Now over 60 years being independent. There's no way somebody will come and say, no, you young man, much as you are living alone, take over your wife, and you accept. Is this really right? This is not right. So you have lived 60 years independently, and you have been able to do at least a few things by your own, not maybe to the taste of other people, but at least if we are able to maintain peace and security, if we are able to finance a few of our projects locally from the local generated revenue, and if we are able to now increase the revenue collections, both by URA and the local governments from the revenue sources that we have, then we'll be able to, we'll be able to move away from some of these restrictions, and then be able to cope up with the changing trends of finances. I saw budget cuts all over. Can we also regulate the issues of an unnecessary increase of salaries for public servants, so that we're able to also finance some of the development issues within the country? Because I remember recently when the salary for professional medical workers and also the teachers, the science teachers was increased. It brought a lot of development that affected infrastructural developments. This because so much salary was increased unnecessarily, and it really created that maybe I would say that beef between the scientists and those who are in the arts sector. We saw so many associations come in, so many clubs come in from elsewhere. Others are calling themselves local government association, professional medical workers association, others come in as scientists association, and so on. These are things, if we really regulate the issues of maybe increasing salaries, after regulating that, and then we'll be able to have at least something in the bank to pull to do other development issues that were entirely financed from the loans that we borrow from World Bank. And then if we can look at also combating the issues around the climate of this region, we will be able to move into production, agriculture very much. Now that government has at least in every region constructed a value addition facility, we can tap into that and start exporting goods that are of value to other nations, where we'll be able to have much returns. I want to thank so much those who have been following us on Westnile Television on your screens, and then those who have been following us on YouTube, and then those on other platforms. I want to appreciate you so much. We are bringing these discussions to a close, that we'll be able to meet again next time, that is tomorrow, the 10th of August 2023. Up next is the news in Lubarati, that will be brought to you by Fetas, that is Feta Emmanuel, who will be coming with the news in Lubarati, the Yolaza, that will be taking us from 9 a.m. exactly to sometime, maybe half past, and then that will take us to other programs on Westnile Television. Stay tuned.